This is a massive humanitarian crisis, massive. This is 1 million Rohingya. This is a genocide. The genocide can be cast or narrated as one of ethnic and religious differences, but I think there's a much more nuanced way to see it, which is those were ethnic and religious differences that were capitalized on in a very particular economic context, in a very particular political context, in which businesses and investment by businesses played a key role. They've just gone from being essentially fully employed because they were subsistence farmers or business people to now having no job at all and being entirely dependent on aid agencies for survival. And so it seemed to me that the lack of work that they had, the cost of that was far more than just the lack of money. The motivating idea behind this study was to capture the psychosocial benefits of employment, and then on top of that to understand how those psychosocial benefits may be mediated by your past, so in this case the trauma that refugees experienced, and then also your future, the sort of deep existential uncertainty people have about their future. Our basic design is very simple. It's simply to randomly assign one group a cash treatment, which means at the end of a month you get this amount of money. And in the other group, in 1 month you get that same amount of money, but conditional on working 12 days within the month. And then to get at these two ideas of trauma and past trauma and future uncertainty, we can use your past exposure to violence. It's effectively random to see how, if you had by chance lost everybody in your family, do you respond more or less in terms of your psychosocial well-being to getting the work treatment? Now we either give people who are working a very concrete schedule for their month where they know exactly when they're working, which hours, which days, or we say, we're going to need you to work this much, but we don't know when, we'll call you on the morning of. And so we use that variation to see if changing your future uncertainty can also increase perhaps the psychosocial benefits of work. The three important takeaways are, we find that the work does decrease rates of depression, we find it increases sociability, and we find that workers who experience the loss of a family member benefit more from the work than others. Certainly there's a lot of literature that does suggest that work means much more than just the cash. It gives you a sense of identity, of purpose, a larger goal. I think what we're excited about is, again, trying to understand the mediation of these effects by your past experiences and also how you conceive of the future. Business leaders should recognize and be very careful about tracing where their money is going, where their dollars are going, because often if they're going into Myanmar, they're going into businesses that the Tatmadaw, the Myanmar military, has a hand on. The Rohingya, this migration crisis is in many ways an embodiment of a much larger problem that we will experience only in greater scale over the next many years. With climate change, we predict that the number of forcibly displaced migrants will eventually, by 2050, go to 1 billion. And they will affect you, right? They will affect me. They may be you and me. So we could leave it up to governments, or we could, as members of a business community, think about how we can integrate these individuals.